Good afternoon. I'm here with my nephew, Beach Brooks III, and I'm Steve Brooks. We're with the Brooks Law Group, and we're starting something fun and new, and we hope it's going to be engaging. We were sitting around at a family function talking about kind of the insider stuff that we see in the background in law, and we thought it might be a good idea to share with our loyal followers, people who follow us on Facebook, some of the things that we might talk about when we go to lunch with each other, or, we might tell our mom about, so you guys have an inside track on, the insurance and personal injury and disability. So this is our first stab at it. What we want to do is every Friday, it's kind of going to be an interview format. A lot of the times it's going to be Beach and I, and we'll answer questions. So, if you have questions, you can type them in, and my assistant will read them out, and we'll try to answer them. We're just going to go for 10, 15 minutes, and we're going to start out going topically. So one of the things I want to ask you guys is if anybody has any suggestions for what to call this. We thought about calling it Fact Friday or Insider Friday, but we want to come up with a name that we use to, to promote kind of the inside track on what we know and what might help you in the future to protect yourself. So today's topic is going to be about the general subject of insurance. And Beach and I were talking beforehand. And before we get into the question, I want to introduce this young man. I want to congratulate him. He just got married to a fine young lady, Jordan, and it was a beautiful wedding.
I definitely married up.
Yeah, you did. But Beach is a brilliant young attorney who, when did you graduate?
Graduated last May.
So he graduated from Stetson University College of Law, where both his father and myself graduated. I graduated back in 1986, and I think my brother Beach graduated in 1984. So we are so proud to have Beach join us. He not only is a brilliant, sharp legal mind, but he is one of the most competitive people I've ever met in my life. And I'm pretty competitive myself. So I love having his youthful energy and go-get-em attitude. Beach played collegiate baseball, right?
Yes, at the University of Cincinnati. Went up there, played Division I baseball, had the time of my life. After that ended, I wasn't necessarily good enough to play professionally, and I was looking to fill that competitive void. So that's what drove me to law and to the practice with my dad and Steve.
And let me tell you something. This guy loves to negotiate. He'll practice negotiating when he goes to a store. But the thing about him is he's going to be the ultimate trial lawyer. He just got back from a seminar in Atlanta on a really neat new way to approach trials. And we are so looking forward to his courtroom presence that he's going to bring. But let's get to the question, insurance. We were talking before we started, and one of the common myths out there is we'll have clients come in after they've been in an auto accident, and they'll say, well, I have full insurance. I should have all the coverage I need. And as Beach and I know, that is truly a myth. There's no such thing as full insurance. So kind of tell me from your perception, from interacting with clients, pretend I'm a client, tell the people watching when a client says I have full insurance, how do you respond?
A lot of times I'll ask them, what is full coverage? And 99.9% of the time, their response is, well, the adjuster said I'm fully covered, so I have to have everything. However, in Florida, a lot of times, as you know, Steve, full coverage is actually very minimal coverage. The adjuster, because these insurance companies want to insure you guys for as little as possible to maximize their profits, all they insure is what's minimally required by the state of Florida, which is $10,000 worth of PIP or no fault insurance and $10,000 worth of property damage to insure damage to the other person's car, not even your own car. So a lot of times when adjusters tell these clients they have full coverage, in fact, it's just what's fully required by law, which in fact is minimal coverage. So the best advice I could give anybody is really dig in and ask your adjuster what you are insured. Make sure you're protecting yourself from liability and make sure you're protecting yourself in case someone else hits you. Because I believe, I think the latest stat is 40% of drivers in Florida have no insurance.
Oh, wow.
So to make sure you are fully covered in case of an accident, make sure you have an open conversation with your adjuster and make sure not only do you have all the insurance required by the state of Florida, but that you're in fact fully covering yourself in case of worst case scenario you are in an accident.
So, full coverage is kind of a term of art. What one insurance agent may say is full coverage, another insurance agent may say that's not full coverage. You need this to have full coverage. You have coverage to protect yourself. That's called PIP coverage. Covers $10,000 of your medical bills. And then you have BI coverage, which protects you in the event that you were at fault in an accident and you're sued. But what most people don't buy, even though they think they have full coverage, is what's called uninsured motorist coverage. Uninsured if you're living in a state like we do where, Beach just said there that potentially up to 40% of the drivers in Florida don't have insurance, you are putting yourself and your family at risk of getting in an accident caused by an uninsured motorist. If you haven't purchased uninsured motorist coverage to protect yourself in that event, you could be exposing your family to incredible medical bills, lost income, without having any pot of money to go after. So when you buy uninsured motorist coverage, what it essentially does, if an uninsured motorist driver hits you, it essentially insures them and allows you to go after your uninsured motorist policy as if you were going after the person who harmed you, who was negligent, so that you could seek a recovery from that pot of money. Any input from you on uninsured motorist coverage?
I just think it's if 40% of drivers in Florida do not have bodily injury coverage, you got to protect yourself. You can control the way you drive, but you cannot control the way anybody else on the road drives. And I know that I personally have because if I get hit by someone that does not have bodily injury coverage or no insurance whatsoever, as Steve said, I'm recently married. I don't want to leave my wife with boatloads of medical bills or a surgery to pay for and no coverage. So at the end of the day, we pray that you never need your coverage, your uninsured motorist coverage. But at the end of the day, you got to protect yourself. Just like you buy homeowners insurance to protect yourself, make sure you purchase that coverage to go ahead and protect your case or yourself from worst case scenario.
And the most tragic thing that we see as attorneys is to have a client come in who's been seriously injured, is going to be out of work for months, and none of it because of our client's fault, but because the person who caused the accident has no insurance. There's no pot of money to go after. And, unfortunately, we see that all too often. So please talk to your insurance agent. Talk to them about uninsured motorists. It's not that expensive, and it will provide a lot of protection. So, Kelly, any questions? Okay, well, if you guys could email me at steve@brookslawgroup.com, or
my email is Beach, just like the beach, BEACH, and then since I'm the third, it's III@brookslawgroup.com.
If you have any more questions, we'll be glad to answer them. Also, if you have any input or suggestions on what we can call our Fact Friday or Insider Friday, please shoot me an email and give me your thoughts. So thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to next Friday at 3:00.
Thank you.
Thanks, Beach.